The state of your nervous system determines your frequency. And because it determines your frequency, that is what you're tuned into. And what you're tuned into, that is what you attract in life, what you're going to manifest. I'm overwhelmed, I'm overstimulated, I'm stressed, I have so much anxiety. If you have said any of these in your life, that's completely normal. You're a human being and it's valid to feel these emotions. But if you find yourself getting caught up in these emotions and you can't seem to get back to feeling calm, you may have a dysregulated nervous system. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alexis Mora. My Mexica name is Iquayontesca, and I'm here to help you elevate your life physically, mentally, and spiritually so that you can become one with the mind, body, spirit, so that you can live your best life and become the best version of yourself. I'm very, very excited about this YouTube video today. Today we will be talking about why having a regulated nervous system is so critical for your health, physically, mentally, spiritually, and how some of us may not even realize that we have a dysregulated nervous system. And not even just that, but how having a dysregulated nervous system may actually be preventing you from manifesting what you want in life. And what I mean by having a dysregulated nervous system is that both a dysregulated nervous system and a regulated nervous system both experience stress. The key difference is that a dysregulated nervous system is when you seem to have gotten stuck in stress mode, in survival mode, and you remain on high alert. Nowadays, I feel like I hear a lot of people that say, I need to regulate my nervous system, and all they're talking about is like feeling calm and being relaxed. But in reality, a regulated nervous system is when you can experience stress, and then once that stressful situation is over, you are able to return back to feeling calm. So a regulated nervous system does not just mean feeling calm or being calm. A regulated nervous system is having the ability to respond to stress and safely return back to feeling calm. A great example of how some of us may actually be experiencing a dysregulated nervous system is through our work. For many of us, work may actually be stressful. Work is never 100% stress-free, and that's normal. However, if you find yourself that you're feeling stressed at work, and once you clock off or once you clock out, you still find yourself stressing, your shoulders become super tight, your jaw is clenched, you're going to sleep stressed, and you're waking up stressed, that is a sign of a dysregulated nervous system. Because once it comes down to dewinding, your body is not able to calm down. Your nervous system is stuck on being stressed, and it can't seem to return back to feeling calm. If any of this resonates with you or you want to learn more, stick around because we will be diving deeper into the nervous system. For those of you who do not know what a nervous system is, I will be briefly talking about it in this section. So, what is the nervous system? Your nervous system is actually there to keep you safe. It's there to detect danger. It is your body's command center and major control center. It's basically your body's like CEO, the big boss. And your nervous system consists of the brain, the spinal cord, and nerves that extend from the brain as well as the spinal cord. And all of these communicate with one another. The nervous system is split up into two parts, which is the central nervous system, which consists of the brain and the spinal cord. And then there's the peripheral nervous system, which consists of the complex network of nerves. It's very, very interesting because the way you experience life is actually through your nervous system. Your brain constructs your reality. And again, your brain is part of the nervous system. So everything you perceive, all your beliefs, every action, every thought is powered by your nervous system. And your nervous system is constantly taking in information from the external environment and internal environment. And what I mean by that, external is everything that is happening outside of your body, and then internally is everything that's happening inside of your body that you may not even be aware of. So when your nervous system is processing all that information, both externally and internally, it then sends signals, electrical signals, through your nervous system and sends signals to your muscles, your glands, and your organs. And your nervous system tells it exactly what to do. Your nervous system, the way it processes information is by sensory input, integration, and motor output. During the sensory input, that is when your nervous system collects information externally and internally. During integration, that is when your nervous system processes the information and decides which action your body will take. The motor output is when your nervous system sends signals to your muscles, your glands, or your organs, and this is basically the action. So, for example, let's say you see a tree. When you're looking at the tree, that is when your nervous system is collecting information and you're like, wow, okay, I see a tree. And then when you decide and tell yourself like, hey, I want to walk that way, that is the integration. Your body decides to send electrical signals to your muscles in order for you to move forward, because the action, which is the motor output, is when you want to start walking that way. So through your nervous system, that is how you are actively deciding what to do, which movements, which actions, and even thought processes. Earlier, I mentioned that your nervous system is there to keep you safe and to detect danger. And it's actually there to maintain homeostasis because your nervous system is constantly taking in information. Don't mind the AC, the noise is the AC. If your body is not able to detect danger, such as an increase in temperature or detect pain, then that is when there will be consequences and major damage to your body. I remember when I first learned about burn victims, but there are certain burn victims that are no longer able to feel pain in that area of their body that was burned because the nerve endings were actually burned off or damaged during the time of the burn or the fire. So I thought that was very interesting when I learned about that. This next part, I feel very passionate about. And this part explains how the nervous system has two modes. There is the rest and digest and the fight or flight. The sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight, and the parasympathetic nervous system is the rest and digest. So let's dive into the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight. This is basically the on switch. This is when you're on high alert, you're activated, you're on survival mode, and this is turned on when you perceive danger, when you feel stressed, or even for intense physical activity in order to get that pump flow going and send more blood to your muscles. During fight or flight, this is when your body produces the stress hormone, which is cortisol. So this is when your cortisol levels go up. This is when your digestion temporarily slows down or just pauses. But this on switch isn't always on when you're stressed or when you feel danger. It's also there during moments of like intense physical activity. So you could be working out and you don't feel stress, but your cortisol levels still go up in order to increase the pump flow throughout your body. And then there's the off switch, which is the rest and digest. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's literally when your body rests and digests. It recovers, it heals, it regenerates. And this is when your body digests your food. It's when it breaks down the food in order to receive the nutrients you need for your body. Rest and digest is so important because this is when you feel calm. This is when you feel relaxed. This is when your heart rate goes down and you feel calm. However, if you get stuck on fight or flight, and you can't seem to get back to rest and digest, this is when other body organs stop working properly or efficiently. These two modes, you are supposed to experience both. As a human being, you are supposed to be able to move back and forth from the two. They actually complement one another. You need both in your life. However, it becomes an issue when you get stuck in fight or flight. This is when it becomes chronic stress. Chronic stress is when you experience a prolonged period of time of stress and your cortisol levels remain high for a very, very long time. And this is when it starts to impact your health. I feel so passionate about making sure that I have a regulated nervous system because your health is very, very important. And I'm a strong believer that health is wealth. If your health is not the best, it becomes a lot harder to do the other things in life that you want to do, the paths you want to take, the dreams you want to pursue, and any other goals you have. A lot of that can be interfered with if your health is not the best. There's this saying, and I remember when I first heard this saying, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But the saying goes, stress could kill. Like literally, stress could do so much damage on the body. So all that time your body spends on fight or flight, your body continues to produce cortisol. Instead of healing, it's actually doing more damage on your body. And that's why I said stress could kill, because during chronic stress, this is when it becomes a lot easier for your body to get sick. Your immune system weakens. It becomes a lot easier to develop an autoimmune disease, and other body organs stop working properly or efficiently. And every organ in your body serves a purpose. Your skin serves a purpose, and your skin is the largest organ in your body. It protects you from the external world, from the internal world. Your heart is what gets the pump flow going through your veins, through your body. Your brain is the control center of your nervous system. Your kidneys, your liver, everything serves its purpose in your body. Except my appendix, I got that removed. And so chronic stress can actually leave a huge negative impact on your body. Many people that experience chronic stress start to develop digestion issues, because again, that is when your digestion slows down, temporarily pauses, or just isn't working as good as it used to. This can lead to IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. And a great example of this is I actually experienced this. I experienced chronic stress earlier in my life. At first, I didn't realize I had a dysregulated nervous system. I found myself going to sleep stressed, waking up stressed. My shoulders were constantly tight. I had extreme headaches. I was emotionally drained. And so with time, I began to develop digestion issues, which then turned into IBS, which then turned into an autoimmune disease. So my chronic stress developed and manifested into an autoimmune disease. And I'm sharing this story because I feel very passionate about my story, and I hope that this video finds some of you who may be experiencing a similar story, or perhaps this can bring more awareness as to why having a regulated nervous system is so important. Because for a really long time, I was neglecting the signs of stress. I thought I was invincible. I thought that I could do so much with my body, even though my body was screaming for rest. I was stressed all the time, and I didn't really think of ways of regulating my nervous system. So it became an issue. So this feeling of never getting to turning the switch off, it can actually also leave a huge impact on you emotionally. For many people, stress can lead to negative emotions, feelings of depression, anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, hopelessness, and mood swings. And so again, I truly do want you to live your best life and pursue what you want in life, but that's really hard when your mindset isn't in the right place, when you're thinking negatively, when you're experiencing depression, because it's not a good place to be and it doesn't feel good. So especially for women, if women experience stress for a prolonged period of time, this is when it can actually affect their cycle. So for women that do get their cycle, our cycle is every 28 days. And this is our way of detoxing the body. This is our natural way of detoxifying the body. Unlike men who do not get their menstrual cycle as women do, or as females do. And I think our cycle is something very, very beautiful. It is when a girl becomes a young woman. It is also our ability to create life. I am a firm believer that our period is very, very powerful. For women, if we are stressed for a prolonged period of time, it can actually negatively impact our cycle. Our cycle becomes irregular. It can be late. It can become heavier or lighter, and our PMS symptoms can actually become stronger. And the main reason for that is because of stress. Stress can actually impact our hormones, and that is when our hormones are thrown off. High cortisol levels disrupts the natural balance of our hormones, such as estrogen, progesterone, and our thyroid hormones. And the thyroid plays such a huge impact in our metabolism, our energy, our weight, and our cycle length. Having our cycle is so beautiful because if we're on time, that is our body telling us that we're healthy. And if it becomes irregular, that is a sign of us experiencing stress and we're thrown off, we're out of balance. And that is why I mentioned earlier, our nervous system is there to keep us safe to detect danger and to help us remain in homeostasis. Homeostasis is balance, and if we're not balanced, that is when our hormones get thrown off. Other side effects or other symptoms that some women may be experiencing when they have an irregular cycle is either stronger mood swings. You may be experiencing insomnia, you're not getting the best sleep, you're waking up in night sweats. And stress and sleep go hand in hand. If you're super stressed, sometimes you may not be getting the best sleep, but when you're feeling relaxed, grounded, and balanced, your sleep is the best. So I'm going to say this again, but I truly do want you to live your best life and to live at your fullest potential, but it's not the best when you're experiencing health issues or mood swings or even autoimmune conditions. I think mood swings are highly overlooked. For example, if you've been experiencing mood swings and it's more than once a month, that could also be a sign of a dysregulated nervous system, because typically when women get their cycle, their period, there's that 1 week in the month where they're having mood swings. However, in the past, I've experienced where one day I feel amazing and then the next day I'm not feeling the best and I feel like I have no control over my emotions. However, it's not even close to that time of the month. And that was a sign of a dysregulated nervous system. So if this sounds like you and you think you have a dysregulated nervous system, I'm here to tell you that it is possible to heal. It is possible to have a regulated nervous system once again, but it takes time. It's a process. You're not going to get better overnight, and you take it one step at a time, one day at a time, because healing takes time. There's certain medications that make us think that we'll be able to heal overnight or within a week, but it may actually take longer than that. It just takes time, patience, and it's a process. Those are some of the signs of a dysregulated nervous system, but it's time to dive into why a dysregulated nervous system is impacting you negatively in a spiritual way, because it's actually preventing you from manifesting what you want. And I feel so very passionate about this part. This whole YouTube video, I hold it very true to my heart, because I've experienced having a dysregulated nervous system to the point where it affected my health. And I am better. My health is better now, but I am still in the journey of healing. When you're stressed all the time, it's affecting your vibration. It's lowering your frequency. It's affecting your aura, and it's just leaving you not feeling the best. And in order for you to grow, to thrive, to glow, you need to have a regulated nervous system. You need to feel good. If your energy is not in the right place, it's hard for you to grow and to heal. And for those of you who don't know what aura is someone's vibe or energy, and everything is energy. You are energy, I'm energy. A certain place even has its own energy. Literally everything is energy. Even the food we eat is energy. We get energy from the food we eat. So basically, when we eat our food, our body converts that food into ATP. Like, our body literally needs food to survive. And if you don't know what ATP is, I'm gonna put it here. But ATP is basically our body's currency. Like, just the way you need to buy something in real life, you need money. That's how your body operates. In order for your body to take action, or even for cell regeneration, it requires ATP. And the only way to get your currency or to get money is through our food, because again, our body converts food into ATP. And basically ATP powers all sorts of functions in the body, from brain function to organ function and muscle contraction. And so because everything is energy, there is actually a law backed up by science. And this is Newton's first law. This first law is the conservation of energy. And it basically states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only change from one thing to another. Like, for example, from mechanical energy to kinetic energy. And with an aura, everyone has an aura. You have an aura, I have an aura. And an aura is basically your energy. You are radiating energy from your body. They're like electrical signals. And there are people in this world that can see your aura. For the most part, most people cannot see someone's aura. There are certain things that the naked eye cannot see, but you can feel it. And so there are certain people in this world that have trained their eyes or their brain to see someone's aura. And the closest thing to seeing an aura is actually feeling someone's aura. So if you've ever been in a room with someone and you just felt like their vibe was off, you didn't really fuck with them, or you just didn't vibe with them, that's because their vibration, their frequency was just not resonating with yours. They had a low vibration. Their aura was dim and dark and low. And that is also why sometimes just by associating yourself with someone that's positive, it influences you. Their aura, their energy influences you in a way where it also brings you up. And so when you're feeling good and when you're feeling happy and when you're feeling love, you're at a higher frequency. Your aura is glowing and thriving. And love is the highest frequency. However, stress, anxiety, anger, that's all coming from a place of a low frequency, a low vibration. That's why when it comes to manifesting something, if you're coming from a place of fear, stress, anxiety, those are the signals you're sending out. Your aura is literally sending out electrical signals, but coming from a negative place. And what you put out is what you get back. So if you're sending out negative signals, it's going to come back stronger. And so when you're feeling good and when you're coming from a place of love and happiness, those are the signals you're sending out. And what you put out is what you get back. And so if you put out happiness and love, that's what's going to come back to you even stronger. And that's why I also mentioned, like, you have to be careful with the people you surround yourself with, because their aura and your aura there will be an exchange of energy. Because you're sending out signals, they're sending out signals. You're going to feed off that energy. So if you want to thrive, to grow, to pursue more, you also have to surround yourself with people that will help you in that way, that will push you and elevate you in a way that will help you get further in life. But if you surround yourself with someone that is negative, that is someone that is a Debbie Downer, someone that is coming from anger and resentment and just hating life, they're gonna bring you down with them. And so that is why it's important to surround yourself with people with a similar mindset, who is like-minded, and you know that they're gonna help you grow. If you surround yourself with someone that is constantly like, I have anxiety, I have stress, that's normal. It's okay to feel that. But what's really important is if they're able to like bounce back from that. If they are able to be stressed and then they're like, the moment's over and they're feeling good, that's okay. You can surround yourself with those people, but it's important to be very intentional with the people you surround yourself with. And so I have the tendency to be very sensitive to someone's energy, and I do not like to surround myself with people that are always seeing the negative in life. Because if you just see the negative in life, that's all you're ever gonna see, and you're just gonna call in more negativity. So the energy you have is the energy you call in. So like when it comes to manifesting what you want and building the life you want, it becomes a lot harder when you have a dysregulated nervous system. And it's because you're coming from a place of stress, anxiety, fear. All of those are limitations. Those limitations that exist in your brain and your mind are stopping you from pursuing what you want. So if you find yourself stressed all the time, you may have a dysregulated nervous system, because what currently exists in your aura is stress, anxiety, a low vibration, and that is what you are putting out into the universe. That's what you're calling in. So if you're wanting to call in love, happiness, prosperity, but you're coming from a place of stress, anxiety, hatred, resentment, baby girl, it's gonna be really hard for you to manifest what you want, because they're the complete opposite. What you want is not what you are. And so that is why the state of your nervous system determines your frequency, whether that frequency is happiness or hatred. And because it determines your frequency, that is what you're tuned into. And what you're tuned into, that is what you attract in life. And the state of your nervous system is how you experience reality. For example, depending on which state you're in, whether your nervous system is happy or whether your nervous system is stressed, that is how you're going to experience life. If there's two people that are doing the same action or they're in the same situation, they have this very same day, but one is in a dysregulated nervous system where they're stressed, and the other one who is feeling calm and grounded, they're going to experience the day very, very differently, although they had the same experience physically, but mentally, opposite ends. And like I mentioned before, the way you experience reality is through your nervous system, because your brain constructs your reality. Your brain is having these thoughts. It's constantly processing things, and your brain, depending on where your mental state is, that is how you experience that moment. Because if you are someone that is negative, or you're constantly seeing the negative in life, your life is going to be your life won't be experienced in the best way. But if you're thinking positively, you're going to experience life in a much more happy and fun way. And so that is why the state of your nervous system literally determines what you're going to manifest in life. And I remember when I first learned this, I was like, man, it made me realize that I was not making progress in life or not really reaching the goals I was going for because I was always stressed. I had a dysregulated nervous system, and what I put out is what I get back. I was constantly stressed. And so it was really hard to attract the money, the abundance, the prosperity, the love, the happiness. Like, the state of your nervous system literally determines what you're going to manifest in life. And your nervous system is like an antenna. Your aura is like an antenna, and your antenna is tuned to certain frequencies. And in order to manifest what you want, you just have to be tuned to the correct radio station. And if you're tuned into the correct radio station, you're going to manifest what you want, or even find better. You may even find something better that's on the other side. So another way to think about how you manifest what you want in life is you have to become that energy. You have to basically be that energy to attract it. If you want a loving partner that is respectful, that is kind, but you're with a partner that is angry, mad, you're never going to get that loving partner that you wanted in the first place, because you are coming and you are existing and your aura is surrounded by the negative energy. It's really hard to get what you want if you're attracting and surrounding yourself with the opposite. So that's why you have to be tuned into the energy you want to attract. You have to become that energy. And the more you radiate at a higher frequency, a higher vibration, with a regulated nervous system, feeling calm, grounded, relaxed, you're going to get there sooner. You're going to manifest whatever you want in life even sooner, because you're coming from a higher vibration. And again, the state of your nervous system determines your frequency, and then that then determines what you're going to attract. So maybe you've experienced this in life, but maybe you've come across someone who's always very positive, who thinks positively about life, that's happy, that's loving, that comes from a place of love, and somehow everything just always works out for them. It's because of the state of their nervous system. But what they're putting out is what they're attracting. So if they put out love, they're going to attract love and abundance and happiness. So that's why, like, certain people that are positive, things just work out for them. And then there's other people that are more realistic, or think logically, or think in a realistic way, in ways where they think like that's not possible. I think they're just thinking negatively, and life continues to not serve them in the best way because they're approaching things in a negative way. And if you approach things in a negative way, it's just not going to work out for you. So baby girl or baby boy or amiguex, don't think negatively. It's okay to have doubt and think negatively just for a brief moment. Like, let those emotions go through you, but not stay in you. Because if they stay in you, they consume you, and then you start to become one with that emotion. You start to become negative for everything else, and things will not work out for you. So it's okay to have a little bit of doubt, but don't let it consume you. People that are confident, that think positive, things just work out for them. And they always seem to have a higher chance of getting what they want in life because they become that energy. Where your focus goes, energy flows. So if you're constantly thinking, oh, it's not going to work out, this might happen, and you're thinking of how everything might go wrong, there's a higher chance of how everything might go wrong. Maybe this has happened to you, but I've had days where I'm not coming from the best place. I'm super stressed. I'm late. I'm rushed. And then I drop my keys. And then the next thing is my shirt gets caught onto the door. And then the next thing is the elevator is super late. It's because I'm radiating that through my aura, through my frequency. And so everything is just going wrong because that's the energy I'm calling in. But if you're focused on the good, the positive, the goal, the relationship, and you're focused on what you want, and you come from a place of love and happiness, and your nervous system is in the right place, which is calm, balanced, grounded, feeling good, you are going to get what you want. You just have to be patient. If there's one thing you learned from me today, is that in order to manifest what you want, you just have to be tuned into the correct radio station, which is a regulated nervous system coming from a high frequency versus coming from a negative frequency, and that's only gonna attract more negativity. So if this sounds woo-woo to you, so be it. And if you don't believe in an aura or believing that what you send out is what you get back, there are certain things that you cannot see with the naked eye, but you can feel it. Like there are animals that can see heat levels. There are animals that can send out vibrations and that can detect how far something is through echolocation. Like you can't see it, but you can feel it. So if our phones can receive signals through electromagnetic waves or invisible frequencies, then why is it so hard to believe that we are also sending out signals through our aura, through our frequency? And again, I'm going to repeat it one last time. The state of your nervous system determines your frequency, and that frequency then determines what you're going to attract, what you're going to manifest. So that concludes the end of this video. I really enjoyed making this video with all of you. If you liked the video, go ahead and leave a thumbs up or subscribe. If you learned something new, go ahead and leave it in the comments. If you're interested in learning more of certain habits I do throughout the day to make sure I have a regulated nervous system, let me know and I'll make a video. Thank you so much for the support, and I will see you in the next video. Or you want to learn more, I can do this. I forget, did I mention that's like, is that what I said? So that concludes the end of our video. If you like this video, go ahead and leave, this is the best part.